GM. GM. It's over. Bull market's over. Pack it up. See you in 4 years. Not really. Of course, I'm joking. But it has to feel more over, in my opinion. I think most people, because they've seen recently, and not just this move here, but even from the previous bull market, right? People are very used to these triple bottoms. Oh, it tests and it tests and it holds and it looks like shit, but then look what we got after, right? And even here we have one leg down and two legs down, and don't worry, look what we got after. So, and the same over here in January of 2021, of course. Test it, and then boom, away we go. My opinion is none of those things are going to happen. It's going to be something different. But what I am expecting, and I've been talking about this all week really, or since the sell-off, the market is no longer bullish. We have now entered a low volatility phase. People have left. This was positions exiting around the time of the war fears. It was not a bullish shakeout. We can now say this. At the time, it was kind of hard to judge because you say, all right, well, Bitcoin sold off on fears of war. But obviously, since then, the war has not escalated and it's gone quiet, basically. There's not much talk about Iran and Israel. And so why is Bitcoin not right back where it started? If that was the reason. Because this is what people tell you. The only reason for the sell-off was war fears and panic and blah, blah. Well, so then why are we trading all the way lower when nothing has materialized from that war? And the obvious answer, well, it's not obvious to many, but the answer is it doesn't work like that. Right? It wasn't just war. Bitcoin was already selling off. The market is already selling off. And this is not weird. Look at what we've done since the start of, even take it from the start of 2023. This has been up only with minor dips or tight consolidations all the way. This is a perfect profit taking area, previous all-time high. And when you just look at this now, I want to see a lot more bearish sentiment coming out. I want to see a lot more bearish news. I want to see people coming out of crawling out of the woodworks and saying, oh shit, no, this is like really bad. Because even though we've done what you would do, and this is a good example, by the way, of people, no matter how high it goes in a bull market, no matter what signs you get, you will never want to admit something's bearish. And it's crazy. But this is why, people, I remember a few months ago, in October, November, December, January, people were asking me, but how can it just keep going up? This is crazy. And that was why, if you remember at the time, I was saying, guys, we're going so much higher because there's so much disbelief. When you're asking yourself, how can it be so easy? My coin went up 2x in a day, or my portfolio was up so much this week. You're in disbelief because you're like, how can everybody, because everyone's long in crypto, right? Basically everybody's long. You say, how can everybody just do this? Like, how can everybody just make money? Right? This is so weird. It just all goes up. Everyone holds, they make money, and then they all become millionaires. You're getting the perfect example now of why that doesn't happen. Right? Because it doesn't matter that price went up only for 6 months. How does sentiment feel right now? Not good. It's cope. It's pure cope. So even though we went up only for 6 months, Bitcoin's price tripled from 25 to basically 75. All coins went up a bunch. Meme coins went crazy. Loads of people made loads of money on paper. And yet, people are angry and they're coping hard on this. They're like, this is just a shakeout. They're just turning into delusional, hopeful bulls. This is not a shakeout. It's distribution. And the only way the distribution can be invalidated is by reclaiming 64 and then 67. In which case, it would look like Bitcoin has flipped this and can break out. But it currently is distribution. The strong volume, the higher selling, is all coming on the downside. It is below all these key levels, as you can see here. You can see on the aggregate chart over here for BTC, right? The volume is distributed at almost exactly that 64k level. There is another volume node which runs into 67k, which I don't know why, but this has put this across here. That one's coming in at 64 as well. That was previous at 67. Anyway, you can see the level we're stuck below, 64. That's the first one that matters. And the sell-offs, right, first of all from right when we hit the all-time high, heavy selling. On the way down in this first leg, heavy selling. Down here again, heavy selling. The rallies have been low volume, so they've just been pretty much squeezes. Then it tries to sell off again, more heavy selling, right? Then we sell off again, more heavy selling. We finally get one decent green candle, followed up by nothing, low volume on the next few days. So all the selling is the aggressive side, and there's no aggressive buying. And the Hong Kong ETFs have launched, and they're a flop, like $50 million or something in a day, in the first day. And the US ETFs are negative. Not only are they not bringing, like the Hong Kong ETFs, even with their terrible 50 million volume day, brought in more than the US ETFs, because the US ETFs are net sellers for the, what is it now, the 6th day in a row? Fourth day in a row of outflows, fourth day in a row of IBIT, BlackRock at 0. And you know, the market is just not strong. And that's fine. I mean, it doesn't have to be strong all the time. It can't be strong all the time. Like, again, I'll bring you back to the fact that when all of this has happened, the market does not need to go up again. Not right away. Now, if it does, we'll be there for it. We'll be ready to flip. But that's why you have your process. I talked about it yesterday. For me, flipping those 4-hour bands back to green would be the first sign of a rally. It tried to do it overnight. Bands never went green, so you don't take a trade. Boom, rejects. It's not there yet, right? The market's just not ready. It's weak. Weak market. We have the 50, 100, 200, all in a downtrend. Came up and retested the 50 and the 100, rejected off them. Weak. It's a downtrend. It's a crystal clear downtrend. Now, 60k can hold. It should have some strength there. It doesn't mean, and certainly, you know, I wouldn't be looking to get overly bearish on BTC, because this can all change at a moment. And it will too. And there's nothing more bullish than whenever there's a bunch of bearish price action and bearish news, but then price doesn't break the next key level, which is obviously 60. So the thing I'm saying is, when you lose 64, you're going to go to 60. Right? Because nothing really in between here is overly particularly strong. 61.4 doesn't seem to me like an area where we would bottom. But if we go down to below 61 towards 60 itself, that's an area you're looking at. Okay, does that now act as really strong support? It has acted as support before, so until that breaks, we'll consider it the same. My point is, everything I say online, and I know there's obviously people who are bearish, but the people who are bullish and coping are coping super hard. They're like, everyone's bearish. Everybody is not bearish. Go and read bearish posts. People are clowning on them, right? If you read any bearish post and go look at the comments, people are clowning on them saying, bro, it's a bull market. You're an idiot. You're going to get sidelined. Fuck the bears, blah, blah, blah. It's like, where were you when all of this was happening? Because this is the thing. I read comments and sentiment every day. I read social media every day. Those people were not saying this here. The comments under the posts of bullish or bearish posts, right? Anyone bear posting here and here and here was getting engagement. Especially here, which is the funniest one, because we actually had a massive bullish breakout. And over here, any bear posting was getting engagement. Yeah, definitely, bro. Agree. Going back to 30. Gap to fill. Yeah, it's just a trap above the highs. Down to 26. So the average participant reply guy was happily agreeing over here with the same influencers who were bear posting. Now, that same influencer is bear posting up here. It's not one person, it's a bunch of them. I track just any sentiment I see. And yet the comments, the replies to those same people, so it's their same followers, who were agreeing it's bearish here, are now disagreeing that it's bearish here. That's interesting. It's not about the post. Too many people try and read sentiment. It's not about what someone's posting on Twitter. Anyone can post anything. I could post a fucking bullish, I could post a bullish post on Twitter with absolutely no position on. I'm not long and no intention of being bullish, and I'm just psyoping. Or I could do the same with a bearish post. A big influencer can post whatever they want, right? It's the replies and the comments that matter, because that's the crowd. And it's not perfect, right? But it's something that I use and read a lot. Now, you don't take positions off it. This again, I did a daily lesson about this a few days ago. You do not short or long based off of what somebody's commenting. You use it as a framing. What I'm looking for is much more acceptance that it's over. And the only thing that's going to do that is price. So when you hear me saying, I think we can go into the 50s, or I think we at least go to 60, and then chop around and look really bad, or just down clean into the 50s and look like shit, it's not because I'm bearish Bitcoin. I still hold loads of Bitcoin, right? Because I don't think the cycle is going to end. I do think the cycle needs to feel like it's over. And if that happens, and when that happens, that's going to be really, really brutally slow and choppy and grinding. Because to lose all faith and all hope, it has to be a real grind. Like, this was a real grind back in May and June of 2023, last year. Coincidentally, May and June. Not coincidentally though, because summers are notoriously low volatility. So as we come out of April, which had a little bit of volatility, just May and June were just grinding, just shit. People trying to catch the bottom every time, people trying to short into the lows every time. And it just keeps pushing a bit lower, a bit lower, a bit lower, but not much lower. Like, I don't expect Bitcoin to collapse. I do expect if 60k breaks, there'll be a deep wick. Right? Because I know a lot, this doesn't take a genius. Lots of people will have stops at 60. Like below this low. It's technically at 59.5. But loads of people are going to have bet the farm on this being the bottom. Because look, it's obviously a big support level. Has been all the way. And can continue to be. Absolutely can continue to be. I'm more interested in altcoins, right, than Bitcoin. No point being bearish Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the biggest and the best. If you have to choose one coin to buy, you choose Bitcoin, right? If you had to choose one coin for the next 10 years, you obviously choose Bitcoin. And that's a real thing. That's real. That logic behind that is real. People go to Bitcoin first. You don't want to get bearish on Bitcoin. But I look at this on total 3, for example, and it doesn't seem to me to be at any type of strong support. Now, it's been down only for like 7 or 8 grinding shitty days. Can we have an update? Sure, but we tried to have that yesterday and it rejected. And this morning rejected. I just think this whole thing's going lower, but in a very grinding fashion. And eventually, people will give up and it will capitulate. But then individual coins. So some of the leaders. Meme coin whiff. Been trading this one on the short side, in day trading with a short bias. This to me, again, and I'm fully ready for this to be disproven, but currently this is a perfect bearish continuation structure. I've said it a couple of times. You have a high, you have a low, you have a lower high, right? So there, high to a low to a lower high, then an impulse candle, this one. So it impulses lower, right? Impulse. Then it corrects with a perfect bearish correction. That is literally textbook bearish correction. And then that equals new lows. That is how the textbook would tell you. Is that going to happen? Not necessarily in that exact way. But certainly I think it goes back to the lows. And if it comes down here and then it's really slow, it's grinding like that, well, that's probably going to be a bottom. Right? If it's going to break to new lows, it's going to do something like this. It's going to have a big breakdown candle. And you're not going to miss it, right? You're going to see it, and it's going to be clean and clear, and it's going to go all the way to 100 and probably down through the 100 EMA. Again, it's not about dog with hat. Pick out any coin you want. Avalanche. Just view the market as a whole and look at this and think and say, in no way is AVAX bullish here. It's had its entire uptrend. It's broken the uptrend entirely. And so, at best, it needs to hold here, chop around, build up some kind of base, and then go higher, right? It can do that, by the way. But guess what? If it does that for the next 2-3 weeks, or even more, that's going to look and feel really bearish. This isn't bullish, right? And that's the point. Do not expect everything to just collapse lower right now. It might not. There might not be enough leverage build up. There might not be enough people panicking. We had a leverage shakeout on these candles. I'm not expecting huge 20% red candles. If we get them, great. But I'm not expecting it. Because even look at this, like AVAX is down into previous support, right? It doesn't have to go all the way back to the lows because that support actually extends all the way across here. So it's a breakout and retest of the August highs. So that level, like as messy as this looks, not surprised that holds. What I expect from something like AVAX is it grinds downwards and it just takes out those levels, takes out those lows, but no lower, and then starts to recover up. Something like that. Who knows? If it's going to go higher, right? Some of these coins will go to clean new lows. And if they do break those levels, they have inefficiencies to fill all the way down, right? Which is going to be really bad for those coins. And then they'll recover up and they'll rally. But where it goes after this is going to tell you what the prospects are for the rest of the market. If AVAX retraces that whole move, the rest of the bull market, you can only really expect it to have just maybe slightly higher high, and that's it. That's all. If it holds here, maybe it can have a push up, right? You really have to get out of the 2021 mindset. Remove that from your brain if you traded through that bull market, because everything went up and everything made all-time highs in 2021 and everything went way beyond them. Pretty much every coin. That's not going to happen this time. If you haven't seen this already, it's really clear, right? First of all, there's practically nothing that's made an all-time high. This is not a strong market, price-wise, compared to last time. Now, time-wise, we're way ahead. We're way ahead of schedule. So, the saving grace is, AVAX did this in 2021. Dropped all the way back down, filled in the entire inefficiency, and still made this massive run. Going lower is the capitulation that's needed for it to go higher. However, it's different this time because AVAX was a hot asset back then. It was new, it was shiny. It's none of those things anymore. It's not new and shiny. There's other newer, shinier stuff. So when you're looking at this, don't compare AVAX to AVAX. Because AVAX might not be that coin this cycle. But what I would compare is what's the next AVAX, right? What's the new shiny coin that has a setup like AVAX in 2021? So then you look at, if you want to take an exact replica, it'd be another layer 1 blockchain, like Say, right? And I'll hide all these indicators just to make it clear. And you look at Say. So here's Say following almost the exact launch pattern path as AVAX. Launches, consolidates, first little leg up, moves up into the highs, sells off, right? And so here we are. It's after breaking that support and retesting. And so, say, if it goes into the slow bleed phase, you'd expect it to down once more, down another bit, and then boom, and it has the chance to go way higher after, right? Now, of course, it is not. History is not going to repeat. The point I would make is, Say is new. It is shiny, the chart is new. Investors don't know how big it should be or how to value it. They know all that with Avalanche. Avalanche is fine. Avalanche has done well, but Avalanche is not like, it's not Ethereum. It's not going to be the next biggest, best thing, right? Avalanche is 14 billion market cap. Say is a lot less. And these are both L1 blockchains. Say is 1.6. So Say is almost 10x smaller, right? Now, that's circulating supply, not fully diluted, but it's a bull market, you know. FTV is a meme until it's not a meme. But Say is much smaller than AVAX, and rightly so. AVAX is a better network and bigger and has been around longer and more adoption. But again, when you're talking about trading these things, especially now that the tech stuff is not doing well, it's all about meme coins, and investors and traders understand, why do we bother with any of this? Let's just pump the shit that's going up. Going down is what makes it go up more, right? The more it goes down, the more capitulation you have, the worse it gets, the bigger the move can be. Because it goes down and people give up and they bleed and they give up and give up and give up. And you're selling your coins, you're giving your coins over to the smart money whales, they hoover them up, and then it's able to rip higher. It's just how it works. It's just how it works. So, we'll see what happens. Anyway, I said this in trading chat a minute ago. I'll finish with this. I expect 1 or 2 more months of bad action. That could be sideways, it could be grinding, it could be lower, there'll be bounces in between, right? Bitcoin can go to 70k and still be bearish. I can go to 70 and still then back down into the 50s. Don't think that will happen, but it can happen. My point is, it can be grinding or choppy or bearish. It might go lower, it might go sideways. So, we might see this for 2 months. We might see a leg lower, right? Or we might even see up and then back down and across. And again, obviously, yeah, we could just go up and keep grinding up and break out, but that's not my plan. My plan is we're going to see worse before it gets better for probably 1 or 2 months. And then, at the same time, I'm also looking for signs of a bottom every single day. Not longing every single day. But I know from past experience that when the best plans you lay out rarely play out. So, I know that it should be low volatile, choppy, shitty for a couple months. I also know that the market doesn't give a fuck what I think. So I have my eyes firmly set on longs, how to rebuild my longs that I exited, the profit I took on some trades, how to get back in, where to get back in, where to look for new positions. Absolutely trading short and long, day trading in the meantime. 100%. The conditions are great for some swing shorts, or when I say swing, a couple day hold, 2-3 day hold. Not a great place to hold long-term shorts. Day trade, swing trade, short swing trade. But when you expect it to be shitty and choppy and grinding, if I actually get the number one path that I think, which is actually this one, then this is the least favorable for shorting. You might get one move down here and then that's it. Because it comes up, not up far, down, but not down far, up, down. This is the max pain. Total absence of volatility, and then away it goes. So, I'm sharing loads of bearish news at the moment and ideas because nobody seems to be considering them. Right? It's just, again, delusional acceptance that the Hong Kong ETFs will be bullish. Whenever I found out last week, or I read last week, anyone with 2 eyes and 2 ears can fucking read and watch, that the Hong Kong ETFs are not open to Chinese institutional investors. If China can't access it right away, there's no money. There's no money in Asia other than China. Not for that kind of stuff. The vast majority of the capital would be Chinese whales. They can't access it. So, I mean, it was just obvious. It's the equivalent of a Bitcoin futures ETF, like we had in October 2021. Yeah, big launch, lots of hype, but nobody wants it. Nobody actually wants to buy futures ETF. They want spot. They want underlying. So, anyway, this is where we're at. More pain in the form of either downside or sideways. And also, keeping an eye every single day in case this idea is wrong and we go higher. In which case, looking at the daily bands. First and foremost, the daily bands to flip green, which none of them are really on any coins at the moment, or maybe Pepe. And if they do flip green, good. Up we go. Until then, down or sideways, GM.